I have over 1,000 hours of Terraria, but I have never done a full run of Calamity Death Mode with the melee class, so I decided to fix that. There's only one problem. I have no clue how to play melee. I'm a summoner main, and I haven't touched any other class in years. If you want to see me play other classes, make sure to like it so I know you want to see more, and subscribe to get notified when the next video comes out. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Time for Calamity. Okay, so the first thing I did was build some houses and then immediately started gathering loot. Since I'm trying to fit almost 30 hours of footage into maximum of 20 minutes, I'm not going to show every single thing I did or explain every weapon I used, but the first big achievement I had was getting the Thorn Chakram, which gave me the range I needed to actually put up a fight. After that, it was straight to fighting bosses. Get in here, buddy. After a few failed King Slime attempts, I gave the eye a go and beat it first try. Nice, first boss kill. Using the dash from the shield I had just gotten, King Slime was a breeze, and I was onto the brain, but that was quickly interrupted. This was around the time I noticed one of the weaknesses of early game melee, crowd control. Not only did I die a ton of times from the goblins, but I also got destroyed on my first try with the brain since I couldn't kill the minions. Shit, he drops tissue samples. Using 6 of these, I could get Hellstone, which was way more powerful than my current weapons. I didn't want to progression skip, even with how easy it could have been, so I made the Blade of Grass and gave it my best shot. Alright, let's progression skip as much as possible. With Molten Armor and the Fiery Greatsword, I got a quick kill on the Desert Scourge, and then I found my new favorite weapon, the Flamerang. This boomerang had the range, speed, and damage to carry me through most of pre-hard mode. The first time I fought the brain with the Flamerang, I won. I gave the Perforators a shot and failed pretty bad, so I went and killed the worm. After this, I built an arena above the Crimson, killed the Perforators, and moved on with my life. From there, it was just boss after boss with minimal troubles. Except for Turker. For some reason, I could just not kill the Turker. He dealt too much damage and I didn't have the patience to actually learn his attacks. After all this progress, the time came to fight the Wall of Flesh. This fight would unlock hard mode, starting the second phase of this playthrough. After only a couple tries, I managed to kill him and move on to hard mode. Now that I was in hard mode, the mechanical bosses were in my sights. I retired the Flamerang and got myself some new weapons and went straight for the twins. I died a couple of times, so I killed Kraujin first and then came back around and killed the twins. There we go, twins dead. I had no trouble with the Destroyer, but Skeletron Prime posed a real threat. I spent some time grinding better armor and accessories and killed him, bringing me to Plantera. With Turtle Armor, I had hit over 100 defense, but that was nowhere near the level of defense I would have later on. Before Plantera, I cleared out a bunch of the Calamity bosses I had skipped and spent some time building a proper arena. With all the preparation I had done, Plantera was no issue, and I moved on to Golem, a boss that was notoriously easy. All I had to do was get to the altar. Oh my fucking god. After seeing how long the temple was, I then said fuck it and I speed ran the temple without giving a shit about how much damage I took. Moving on from Golem, I finally went back and cleared up some of the bosses I had forgotten about. Next up was the Lunatic Cultist, and he went down without a fight, starting the Celestial Invasion. Since I wanted to kill the pillars as fast as possible, I decided to use the Ultimate Battle Potion from the Louis AFK mod, and it was a sight to behold. Before I fought Moonlord, I wanted to do as many bosses as I could, so I went around killing boss after boss. As I got rid of the Stardust pillar since it was in my way, I realized that that was the last pillar, and I hadn't filled out my boss list. I decided it was fine, and I managed to kill the Moonlord first try, meaning I was on to post-Moonlord, the final phase of this playthrough. Post-Moonlord is where Calamity really gets crazy, as the bosses become insanely powerful. Immediately, the first boss you're supposed to fight is Providence, so that's what I started preparing for. The first thing I got was a Fargus accessory called the Force of Life. Little did I know, using this would cause me to later delve into the better Fargus accessories, but I'll explain why that's bad once I get there. The Arc of the Elements was my go-to weapon here, but I also made the Stellar Contempt, which was equally as useful. In terms of accessories, nothing really changed much, just threw on the Solar Armor, the Seraph Tracers, and the Void of Extinction. In order to get the spawner for Providence, I had to dispatch the Profane Guardians, which I did relatively easily. Then I saw this cool Fargus weapon called the Gemini Glaives, but in order to get it, I had to kill 100 twins. I did this twice and didn't get the Energizer I needed either time, even though it was supposed to be a guaranteed drop. The process of killing 100 twins took a lot of time, so I figured I wasn't going to waste my time trying. I looked through my boss checklist and cleared up a lot of things. I took out the Pirates, the Pumpkin and Frost Moons, the Plague Bringer, Astrum Ores, Astrum Diaz, Duke Fishron, and the Ravager. With a pretty full boss checklist, I felt fine moving on to Providence, which I did first try. With Eulablim and Divine Geodes, I made the Tarragon Armor, the Morning Star, the True Tyrant's Ulta Sword, and the Seeking Scorcher, preparing me now to use the Rune of Costs, a summon which brings along the Sentinels of the Devourer, 3 bosses that drop items used to summon the Devourer of Gods, which is the next big boss. In order to prepare for the next big fight, I fought Poltergeist, which is basically a version of Plantera in the dungeon. He only took 2 tries, and then I had access to Ruinous Souls, which allowed me to make the next tier of armor and weapons. Now I was using Blood Flare armor, Death's Ascension, the Crescent Moon, and the Terror Blade. After a couple tries, I killed the Devourer of Gods and unlocked Cosmolite, getting me weapons such as the Scourge of the Cosmos, Embryon Knives, and my new favorite, Excelsis. I tried Yara, the next big boss, and got absolutely destroyed. In order to make myself as powerful as I could be, I spent a lot of time grinding the Fargos bosses to get the Soul of Terraria. This accessory is basically every armor set bonus combined. It took me a couple hours, but I got the soul and became too powerful. I was so powerful, in fact, that I beat Yaron first try. After this, I upgraded my armor to Auric Tesla, and I got the Blender, a Fargos yo-yo that absolutely destroyed the Exomex and Supreme Calamitous both first try, concluding my playthrough. Looking back, Melee didn't present many challenges. The hardest part of this playthrough was the start when I didn't have the range to really deal damage. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun blowing through bosses like it was nothing, but I would expect a challenge playing on something called Death Mode, and I didn't really get that. I think the difficulty of the run was pretty consistent up till post-Moonlord. With my first attempt at Yaron, I didn't know how I was supposed to do it. He actually seemed like my first challenge. Then I started getting into Fargos accessories, and making that Soul of Terraria really sucked out all the challenge, because it allowed me to shred what was supposed to be the 3 hardest bosses in the game. Not only did it make me powerful, but it also lagged the shit out of some of my fights, most notably the Exomex. I think the Fargo stuff is cool, but it's really not meant to be used with other content mods, which is what I figured out. For the rest of my class runs, I will not be using any of the powerful Fargos weapons or accessories, as I want to embrace the challenge that's supposed to be present in Death Mode. Next up is the range class. As of writing this, I'm about 2/3 through that playthrough, and the video for it should come out not long after this one. My plan for this series is to get through all the classes and then do one final video comparing each class and looking at things like playtime, difficulty, strength, pretty much anything that can be compared, to truly find out which class is the best. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry for not posting for a while. It took a long time to figure out what I wanted to make next. I did start about 3 different videos, all of which I've canceled just because it didn't feel right. For the time being, I'm going to stick to Terraria content, as it is a game I've sunk a lot of time into, and a game I'm quite passionate about. If you enjoyed this video and haven't seen my last Terraria video, go check it out. I play on Eternity Mode and Death Mode with some of my friends as we try our best to survive. If you already watched it and are wondering what the next episode is, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know if or when that's coming out. I want to keep that series going and finish it, but we just haven't found much time to play together, and when we do play, it's only for an hour. Keeping in mind it took me almost 30 hours for a run on just Death Mode, the added difficulty of Eternity Mode will make it take many more hours, and if we're only playing an hour at a time, it's gonna be a minute. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep going with this series and working on some other projects. If you want to make sure you see those when they come out, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. That's about it for me though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.